Today on Keep Shooting Mondays, we're going to talk about camera bags and equipment cases. Hey everyone, Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com. You have about 5 days until 5 p.m. Eastern Time, January 18th, that's this Friday, to submit your photos for the very first Keep Shooting photo assignment. Now that first assignment was foreground, middle ground, background. All of your photos do have to be taken from the time that I post that assignment until the time that I start collecting them. Obviously, you can take them anytime within about that 2-week period. Make sure that they are submitted to the forum to be eligible to be in the video and blog post, featured in the blog post and in the video. Probably pick 2 or 3 that I like and start showing them off. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. It can be a landscape, can be a portrait, can be anything. Just make it interesting, make it fun. There's actually a lot of really good ones already, and I'm really excited about this series of videos. I think you guys are doing awesome, and there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. So yeah, let's keep it going. I'm gonna put up another one, I think every 2 weeks, another assignment, but I'm always gonna be putting up the Keep Shooting Mondays videos and talk about gear, answer your questions, and I'm also gonna be doing my best to be putting up some kind of a tutorial video on Thursdays. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be sending out the newsletter twice a week. I'm still on the fence about that. But do subscribe somewhere else, whether that's on Twitter, whether that's on Facebook, so that you can keep that stuff up to date. And so, yeah, let's get into Cazillion's questions. Question from Andy. Hi, Greg. Just wanted to get your take on using grads versus exposure blending on Photoshop for landscape photography. Grads there, he means graduated filters, in case you weren't sure about that. And that's graduated filters versus basically fixing our exposures and fixing stuff in post. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages to both of those, in my opinion, and I do use both. You've seen me use both those techniques in Lightroom, although I use the exposure technique, I should say, in Lightroom. You've never seen me use that as a filter, although I do use both. So, there's advantages and disadvantages. The advantage of using the filters are that it's done, it's exactly what you want, you can see it on the screen, and you might have less work to do, and it's exactly as you want it. Now, disadvantages, more equipment to carry around, you might not have the exact one that you want. Another advantage would be is that if the sky is too bright, you can take a neutral density or a graduated filter and darken that sky, and then you're going to bring that exposure back, and it'll be right on. You can't do that with some of your normally exposed images. Sometimes the sky is just too bright and it's too overexposed usually to be able to bring back, and you've lost that detail, especially on an overcast day. So that's an advantage for those filters. Now, as far as the exposure, you can really tweak it. There's a lot of stuff that you can do both in Lightroom and in Photoshop. Less equipment to carry around, less equipment to purchase because you've already done it. A lot of times you also might need a filter for different size lenses. For example, if I wanted a set of filters for my 14 to 24 millimeter lens, those are going to be pretty expensive. So I only have ones that fit my 77 millimeter lenses, which are my 70 to 200 and 24 to 70, and of course smaller lenses. So advantages, disadvantages to both. When you first start, you're probably going to be working with just the exposure end of that, but as you graduate, as you work more, get a couple of those filters. Just like anything, it's a matter of using the tools and using them correctly, and knowing which one is good, which one is bad in each situation. There's caveats to everything in photography. Everything is a trade-off, one thing versus another. So use your tools so that it creates the images that you want to create, and you'll get great stuff. Question from 4D4M. Is there any cons to renting lenses? I'm looking to rent one and I can't afford to shoot a wedding. There can be cons, but most of the time it's not an issue. As long as you either one, go to a good local reputable camera store that rents equipment that you can test out that lens, or if there's no companies in your area, go with again a good reputable company like Borrow Lenses. You're not going to have a problem. Get it an extra day, test out the lens, make sure that there's no issues, make sure that you can actually use it and that it's going to work with your equipment properly, that you are physically comfortable with using that lens, especially if it's a big lens like a 70-200 if you've never used one before, or a 300 or 400 millimeter lens. You need to practice with it a little bit. So rent it an extra day, practice with it, then that extra day, if there is something that went wrong with it or something wrong with a piece of equipment, you can send it back, get them to cross ship, get you another one of that piece of equipment. It's going to be pretty rare that a good quality company is going to have an issue with their equipment when they send it out to you. But the last thing you want to do is have a lens, come to you on a Saturday morning because you waited until Friday to order it. You get it Saturday morning for the wedding that's on Saturday afternoon. That's just not a good idea. So rent it for an extra day, test it out, and shoot with it a little bit, and you'll be in good shape. Another really good question. I have a question about using Lightroom on Windows 7. What is different when using the 64-bit version versus the 32-bit version? Is the processing actually faster or better? I don't have any troubles processing my raw files. The whole procedure can take quite a bit of time though. So do you think an upgrade to 64-bit Windows would resolve this issue? The primary advantage of using a 64-bit operating system versus a 32-bit operating system is the additional RAM or random access memory that the computer can utilize. All right. Right, with the 32-bit Windows, it can only utilize up to 4 gigabytes of RAM, or actually a little bit less than that, but it's 4 gigabytes basically. So since it can't utilize that additional RAM, and if you have a bunch of programs running, say you have a mail program, you have Firefox, you have Lightroom, you have Photoshop running, all of those applications are competing for that little bit of 4 gigabytes of RAM, and so they each need a little piece of it. And so when it starts running out, then it uses the hard drive to temporarily store that data once it fills up. That accessing of the hard drive or caching of that data on the hard drive is much slower than the much faster random access memory. Since it's slower, that's where you have that speed issue. And it makes it even worse when you're storing your raw files on that same operating system disk where your Lightroom application is running, where your Photoshop application is running, where your operating system is running. So all those things are relying on that disk, slowing down the entire process. So, is it good to upgrade? Well, number one, you need to make sure that your computer supports more than 4 gigabytes of RAM. If it's an older computer or an older laptop, it might not support more than 4 gigs. Number two, it's going to take you a lot of time to upgrade that machine from 32-bit to 64-bit. You're going to have to offload all of your data, all of your photos onto another drive, reformat that computer, reinstall the 64-bit version of Windows, and then reinstall all of your applications. I don't think that there's a supported way to upgrade from the 32-bit version of Windows 7 to the 64-bit version. So that's why you have to do that, completely wipe the machine and start over. And of course you have to buy additional RAM. If you don't want to go that route and you don't want to get that involved in it, one additional way that you can actually help your speed of your computer is to take your raw files, put them on an external hard drive, and that'll at least offload some of the heavier lifting, the bigger files onto that external hard drive. But make sure you have 2 external hard drives because you need a backup. Okay, you got to have that backup. It's really important. Make sure you have 2 copies of all your photos, at least 2 copies, I should say, of all your photos, and that'll ensure that you don't have any problems. Camera bags and equipment cases are, in my opinion, the workhorse of photography. They just take a beating, and they need to keep on working for years and years because we do spend a lot of money on them. We expect them to protect our $5,000 bodies and our $2,000 lenses and more than that, you know. So number one, you gotta buy a good quality bag. I believe in Think Tank Photo for all my bags, all my newer bags. That's all I've been buying is Think Tank. I actually have a couple of requests in. I'm going to talk about one of those pieces that I actually want to re-request again for a bag that I'd like to see them make. But talk about some of the bags that I have here and some of the things that I have here. Not only camera bags, but also equipment cases in general. So, first thing you need to understand is there is no such thing as the perfect camera bag. I have not found it. I don't know anyone that feels that their camera bag is the perfect one, that it does absolutely everything that they want it to. That's why I have to have so many here and have so many things that do different things. Just like you have multiple lenses for your camera, you may end up investing in multiple bags to carry that equipment around. So, my bag that I use, the two bags that I should say, that I use every single day, whether I'm shooting or not, this one, my shapeshifter, this bag goes with me everywhere. Carries my laptop and some cables and things that I have in here. I can always throw my camera in here if I need it, and a couple of lenses. Still carry my laptop, my iPad, put all that stuff in this one bag. It's not very big, but believe it or not, I can get 70 to 200, 24 to 70, 14 to 24, a flash, my laptop, cables, two bodies, two Pro bodies in here, D3, D3S, all in this bag, and it weighs a ton, but I can do it and I can carry it around if I only wanted to carry one and have one bag. So this is my everyday bag. I always have this with me because I always have my laptop with me. So this is my everyday bag that I have most of the time. Now, next one is my retrospective 30. Again, holds my 3, 4, 5, 6 lenses if I really needed it to, because I can put extra bags on the outside of the pocket here on this little strap across. Shoulder bags are the best to shoot out of. Sit the bag down, pull a lens, switch a lens, put it on your shoulder, pull a lens out, switch lenses. It's the best bag for your kind of everyday use, and so that's why I like my retrospective 30. Other ones that I have here, this is an older Tamarack bag that I bought a lot of years ago. I actually keep my film bodies in there, which I never use, but it's a great place to store them for me. That's where I put them. Other bags, this is for when I'm shooting video, or if I'm shooting, I just want a waist bag for the day. I don't want a backpack. I want to be able to easily switch, and I know I'm going to be carrying it for a long time, switching lenses a lot. Then I'll take this one. I don't remember which one it is. MM Wired Up. It's actually, I think, for a video or audio, but still a great bag. You see some of the accessory things that I have on the side on the belt. Not exactly the way they intended, but it works great for me, and so that's what I'll take for like an extended event, something like that. I'll carry that around. I'm not a big fan of just the belt system. I feel like I need something a little bit bigger, so that's why I'll take that bag. This is just a backpack bag. It can be used for pretty much anything. This is the Streetwalker Pro, again from Think Tank, but it actually has my the arm, the bracket for my yeah, that thing. I forget what it's called all of a sudden. My Steadicam, that's it. Actually has my Steadicam rig in it, and so yeah, that's again, it's having it padded, having it closed up, and it's a great way to go. Now, some other things that I have here. This is my, I don't know why I can't think of anything. Airport Security 2, and actually just yesterday, I was with a client on a video and photo shoot, and we're coming back from the shoot, and it started pouring rain, and for like half of the ride back, I forgot that this bag was sitting in the back of the pickup truck. It's pouring rain, we're driving on the highway, I get back, unzip it, everything's perfectly dry, no issues, no problems with it. So thank you, Think Tank, you definitely saved my equipment because I completely forgot, and then again, halfway I remembered, but still, everything's dry, no problems. That's the way a bag should work. You shouldn't have to really think about your equipment and really worry, and that's where I was able to utilize that. Get to my request that I'm going to reiterate from Think Tank. I hope they make one of these, or somebody makes one of these. Maybe somebody else will do it before Think Tank does. I don't know. I like to carry my 300 2.8 with the monopod attached, and also with my hydrophobia in the bag, all in one spot, so that I know I can just grab the one bag and go and shoot. I don't have to worry about forgetting anything, forgetting the hydrophobia. It's all there in that one bag. Now, this bag is the Glass Taxi. It works fine, but it's a little heavy. I think it could be a little bit lighter, and it's a little bulky because of the straps and all those things that are attached to it. So I'd like to see Think Tank make a little bit smaller, more compact bag. Allows me to put my hydrophobia in it, wrap it just around the lens, no additional straps, or maybe just a couple of attachment points, maybe a handle on the top, and that's about it. Maybe a neat way to be able to sling it over your back as a backpack kind of deal. I really want to see this, guys. Please, please, please make one of these bags. I would love to see one of these. I'd be the first person lining up to buy one, because this is the way that I carry my 300 2.8, or if someone would carry a 400 2.8, I'm sure you want to make a 400 version or a 500 version. So please make one of these bags. I'm imploring you. I'm going to keep on nagging you every time I see you guys up at the photo show in New York City. I want one of these bags. Please make one. Nice and light, easy, compact, 300, 400, 500, or 600 millimeter lens with the hydrophobia all in one pack, and be able to go. So please make one of those. Make my life easier. A couple more bags that I have here. Number one is a cheap duffel bag for my extension cords and stuff. Don't need to spend a lot of money on a duffel bag to protect extension cords and power strips. Not going to do it. There's no reason to. Same with this bag. This is a cheap tool bag from Lowe's, just to put my cables and, or not cables, my clamps and super clamps and all those kinds of things in here, A-clamps and things. No reason to spend a bunch of money on a custom bag for that stuff, so I just get a tool bag from Home Depot for that. Of course, can't forget about the big Pelican case. That has my White Lightning strobes in it, cables, softbox rings, the cones, all that kind of stuff is in that bag. Waterproof. I could ship in it. I could check it if I wanted to at the airport. All that stuff works out well. Last bag that I have here that I was going to show you is this canvas bag. Again, not real expensive. Probably spent $10, maybe $15 on this canvas bag, and I'd put my wedding albums in it. All right, going to a client meeting, wanted to show someone something. That's what I'm going to take with me, is just slide my albums inside of this nice canvas bag, keeps them neat, keeps them clean, throw it over my shoulder, and I'm done. So, questions, comments, concerns about today's video, make sure you submit your photos for Keep Shooting for the photo assignment. Again, Friday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time to the forum. And I think that's it. So, Greg Cazillo, Cazillo.com. Thanks, guys. Comments, questions, concerns, send them over. Keep shooting. See you.